Hey guys, welcome back to the Amateur Fantasy Football channel. And today we will be discussing players that overperformed, players that underperformed, and players that I'm excited for in week 2, as well as trade targets. Let's get into the video. Every year, week 1, there are overreactions and correcting your roster too much, looking to trade too early, lots of stuff like that. Myself, I traded away Tucker Kraft just before the game last night, and of course, he scores 25 points. But I will be getting Tyler Warren in return. You can see the trade right here on the league chat sidebar. But the point of this is not every player is going to be looked at through the same lens as if you drafted them. So the main thing is don't overreact after week 1, but react with the data that we do have. Let's get into some players that underperformed at the quarterback position. Look no further than Joe Burrow. This really doesn't surprise me though. It did surprise me, however, that he only had 113 passing yards. That's just disgustingly bad. Everybody knows by now that the Bengals always start off slow. 8.82 is just not going to get it done for where you drafted him. I look for Joe Burrow to have a bounce back week against the Jaguars. It should be a high scoring game, if you ask me. A lot of offense, but who knows? Bengals could definitely just keep kind of shitting bricks the first couple weeks. Second candidate for underperforming in week 1 is Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott could have quite a few games like this year, but 7.82 is just also very uncharacteristic for Dak. There was the hour-long intermission because of the weather, which probably threw some things off. CeeDee Lamb had a couple of drop balls deep down the field, so I think we can say that takes probably, we'll say, 4 points away from them. 11, 12 points, still not going to get it done. Dak's on a high-powered offense, I think. Week 2 against the Giants, who he's dominated over his career, 13-0. He's going to be just fine, and he's going to be a weekly streamer. Someone that may not be starting on some weeks, but other weeks, depending on the matchup, you're going to love to see. But Dak severely underperformed what he's capable of doing in week 1. Tua Tagovailoa. Golly, that was a disgusting game to watch if you were a Dolphins fan. I think I picked the Dolphins to, you know, beat their tails off, but the Colts decided they were going to turn into Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning era Colts and score on pretty much every drive of the game. Super impressive. Tua definitely underperformed what he can do, but I don't really see the Dolphins being a good team this year. But Tua will definitely do better weeks with, or have better weeks, excuse me, with the players that he has around him. Bo Nix. Not the start you wanted to see if you drafted Bo Nix. I think he was a 6th or 7th, maybe 8th quarterback taken off the board. He had 40 pass attempts, only completing 25 of them. He had 3 turnovers, I believe, a fumble, and 2 picks. That's not what you want to see from Bo Nix. Hopefully, it's not a sophomore slump inbound like CJ Stroud had last season. But if you're a Broncos fan or a Bo Nix owner, you were definitely a little shaky in the knees after that week 1 performance. And they don't have that easy of a task this week with the Colts, who I think are a stout defense. So I think this is a pretty important week for Bo Nix managers. Obviously, you're going to keep him in there unless you got a better matchup on your bench ready to go. I would play Mahomes over him. I would play Kyler Murray, who is taking on Carolina. That's a great matchup. I would play Joe Flacco, Drake May. All these players I'd probably take above Bo Nix, but he clearly underperformed and he should be a weekly start. So hopefully he can get back on track this weekend against Colts. CJ Stroud. I would much rather play Bo Nix over CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, after his rookie season where he kind of became everybody's favorite fantasy football waiver wire pickup, he has just not been that good. Partially because of his offensive line, just not getting it done for him. But last week he was not making the best decisions in the pocket. He was running backwards most plays instead of stepping up in the pocket, which is a bad tendency to have. So that's why Stroud, if I can find him here, he only had freaking 10 points, which is very under characteristic for what you would hope to get out of CJ Stroud. 27 attempts, that's not very many, and a pick. Let's see, does he have any rush yards? He did have 5 attempts for 32 yards, which is promising. But CJ Stroud under delivering in week 1, not what you want to see at all. Some other quarterbacks who did not have great week ones include Cam Ward. How do you only have 2 fantasy points? That's confusing. Spencer Rattler, that's expected. Bryce Young, semi-expected, although I did think he would do better. Stafford makes sense. Wilson, he'll be gone in a couple weeks, sitting on the bench. Sam Darnold, 5 points was unexpected. He was maybe the last pick in our league, one of the last couple. A player that I really like to have a underrated good season, but he just did not get it done on the road in week 1. Hopefully he can get back on track. Trevor Lawrence, 11's probably right where I see him, unfortunately for him. And yeah, that just kind of rounds out what we got going on for the week 1 underperformers. Let's get into our week 1 overperformers at the QB position. We'll start off with A-Rod. Why not? Aaron Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns last week, which is unlike him. Funny to look at his rushing stats. That makes sense for an old man. But 25 fantasy points in week 1 is super promising for Aaron Rodgers, a player that went undrafted in our league. He is now rostered. Of course, after a top 5 fantasy finish at the position. But I don't think Aaron Rodgers will be putting up touchdowns like this every single week. His weapons just aren't that good. DK Metcalf and Warren in the backfield are his top 2 players on offense, I think, at the skilled position. Maybe throw Jonnu Smith in there with Arthur Smith as well. He loves the guy. So maybe we could see Aaron Rodgers continue this sort of fantasy trajectory, but I think as far as last season goes in 2024, he did not play the best. 9, 15, 11, 15, 4, 2. He does have some spike weeks, but he's not a very consistent player, so I think this is an overperformance. While it is in his wheelhouse, I do expect him to regress as weeks move forward. Second quarterback I want to highlight right off the top, you know who it's going to be, Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, or, let's call him Danny. 30 points, freaking ridiculous. Nobody expected that, especially not me. I thought the Dolphins would take them handily, but Danny likes to run, a handful of times a game, so that's a good floor for him. 2 touchdowns on the ground. Whew, love to see that. And 1 through the air as well. He was pretty consistent in the passing game, 22 of 29. It's surprising to see. We could see Daniel Jones turn into one of those Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield stories where he's just drafted by a shitty team, can't utilize them, and boom, trade, revitalize the career. So I think Daniel Jones will have some more top 5 performances throughout the year, but I don't think he's somebody that you should be counting on every single week. Justin Herbert, QB that I'm very high on. I picked him up off the waivers. Somehow he was there. But 3 touchdowns in week 1. I don't think he's going to be throwing 3 touchdowns every week. He does have a great wide receiving core, but I think this is a slight case of overperforming. 25 or 34, love to see it. 32 on the ground. Are we going to get that every week? Did they let him loose and unlock his athleticism, athleticism and allowing the use of his legs? Hopefully, I would love to see Justin Herbert continue. And I think he is a great quarterback, probably, top 5, 6, 7, 8 area. But last season, I don't think 28 points was too custom for him. As you can see, he didn't hit 20 points until week 8. And then, man, he's only got about 5 20-point games last season. Last few weeks, though, he did come on. So I guess maybe they found something in the later weeks last year. So I do think Justin overperformed, but he's a player that I'm psyched to have on my roster and someone that I do think will be consistently putting up 20-point fantasy weeks. Let's round it out at the top with everyone's favorite ex-Chicago Bear and Steeler, Justin Fields. Just shy of 30 points on the week on only 22 pass attempts, but he did have 12 rush attempts, something you can expect from him most weeks. Love to see it. 2 touchdowns on the ground. You're not going to see that every week, but if you're a betting man, I would bet that Justin Fields most weeks does have 1 on the ground. I think I'm super excited to see what Justin can do. He's only 26 years old, and they gave him the keys this season for the New York Jets, so I think the sky's the limit for him. But he is a player that I'm not confident starting every single week, but he is a weekly streamer. I actually love the matchup this week with the Bills, as long as they don't just absolutely destroy the Jets. They have a habit of doing that. But the Bills allowed Derrick Henry to rush for 175 on the ground and 2, as well as Lamar Jackson running wild. So I think week 2 you will be just fine starting Justin Fields. But that being said, 30 points will not be a custom week for him. Instead of doing all the under and over performers from every position, I am going to just do 1 per video. So today was QB, and the next video that I'll be putting out will be RB. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video.